This episode of Cognitive Dissonance is brought to you by our patrons. You fucking rock.
Hey guys, I always thought if I called you, it would be to say something really rude and crude. So that was my ultimate goal today. But I have to tell you, after listening to your episode with Johann, as a guy that suffers from like amazing depression and it's hard to get out of bed every morning and I have no plans past, the upcoming week just because, I gotta tell you, that helped so much. That was amazing. Nobody puts out stuff like you do. Thank you so much. Glory hole, motherfuckers.
Hi, Cecil. Hi, Tom. I'm so glad you had the guy on who wrote Tiny Thinkers. I'm going to try to get the books from my library. I'm a librarian. And I also have kind of a cool story. When I was in college, I dated the great-grandson of Garrett Morgan. And we went out for maybe 2 years, so I guess kind of a long time. And he was an artist, a sculptor, and a really cool guy. And I actually kind of miss him. So it was really cool to hear about, his great-grandfather. And just very awesome. So you guys keep it up, be awesome, and glory hole, motherfuckers.
Hey guys, thanks for having Johann Hari on your last episode. I listened to his previous book, Chasing the Scream, and I really did appreciate a lot of how he started from a perspective of why, as opposed to how shall we condemn these people. And I'm really glad that he's tackling a topic that is a big problem for me and a lot of people that I know. And I'm really looking forward to the book. So if he writes anything else, please have him on the show. And if you guys have the ability to push anything else like this, of let's take a real hard skeptics look at how we're dealing with current problems and hardline solutions to solve them. Like, seriously, we need to be pushing this information and data a hell of a lot harder than we currently are. So I love you. Glory hole.
Hey, Tom and Cecil. This is Natalie. I am calling from about a mile outside of Baltimore City. And I just want to say that Waiting Hall and Root can go eat a big old bag of dicks because Baltimore is actually kind of a right-wing paradise. I mean, we've got free market. There's tons of segregation. We've got storefront churches all over the place and tons of guns. So I don't know what the fuck his problem is. Yeah, that's about it. Glory hole.
Be advised that this show is not for children, the faint of heart, or the easily offended. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
So I feel a certain like a kind of pressure right now. Like we got this new microphone, and I got to do my vocal warm like what is the
that's weird
where you shake your throat or whatever.
You're grabbing like your like turkey waddle down.
Yeah, that's your chicken skin, and you give it a fwibble.
Your turkey
do.
Beard,
and you give it a loose skin shake. Look, I'm 40. There's a lot of loose skin. And
I have a lot of loose skin shake.
I'm basically just a skin tag with arms.
It never gets very taut. The skin. It's always a loose skin.
I'm like an old trampoline. Yeah, it's like, jumped on only by fat people. Like that's just like sagging and shitty.
Big tear in my side. You'll lose your foot in there.
Some kid just breaks his arm trying to play near me.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so this is a new microphone. Let's give it hell. You ready?
Just rock it, Tom.
Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago. How's it sound?
It sounds okay.
This is Cognitive Dissonance.
It'd sound better if I was doing it.
Well, you're welcome to give it hell, big guy. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes it news. Makes it the news?
It was close.
Fuck it. Makes it big or makes us mad. It's the microphone. It's skeptical. It's political. And there is no welcome mat. This is episode 408 of Cognitive Dissonance. And we have we got a controversial issue to talk about.
Well, we talked about
specifically episode 407.
407. We got a lot of email about 407.
We got a lot.
We got a lot of messages about 407 and
voicemails about 407.
It was we had Johann Hari on last time, and I was actually contacted by right after the episode released, a skeptic I actually admire. Like Michael Marshall sent me a message.
And who did you admire? Oh, was there another guy?
Of the skeptics.
Andy Wilson?
No, God, no. Oh my
Andy
God.
Wilson?
Yeah.
He already contacted one person this year.
Andy
His
Wilson.
time isn't up
Andy
yet.
Wilson will get to the episode sometime next year. But Marsh contacted me and said, hey, just so you know, Johann's a little controversial, and there was somebody who wrote an article about it, and a bunch of people sort of sent this article to us.
Yeah.
And the article basically says, look, if you read this article, I'm going to summarize the article. The article says, look, one, I only read a portion of the book. I didn't read the whole book. Two, I don't totally disagree with what Johann says. I just disagree with the way in which he's portraying the entirety of sort of the psychiatric field.
Right.
It makes it sound like what he's saying is that nobody is looking into these environmental factors and the other factors, and also nobody is looking into alternative treatments to antidepressants. And the person who wrote this article strongly disagrees with that. They don't agree with that stance. They don't think that Hari is taking a stance that is true to the medical profession, true to the medical field. And I don't know anything about psychiatric treatment. So I don't know whether that's true or not true. What I do know is, and what I want to tell the audience is don't get your medical advice from a book, period.
Or a podcast.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
What you want to do, if this book inspires you, right? Like you pick this book up, you read it and you think, there's some really interesting ideas in here. And then you go and talk to your doctor about it. I think that's probably a good thing, right? To start a new conversation with your doctor and say, hey, maybe we haven't explored these things. And your doctor then talks to you about whether or not those things would work for you. That's a great conversation to have. And I think everybody would want to encourage that conversation to happen.
Right.
What I don't want people to do is to think that they could pick this book up and cure their depression. I don't want people to think, and we pressured Hari initially very much about making sure to say that getting off your meds is not an answer, period. Never think that that's an answer without consulting.
That's
your
not
doctor.
our answer or anyone that we're going to have on the show to give you advice, right? Like if that's an answer for you, it's an answer for you and your doctor.
Yeah. It's not an answer. Yeah. Certainly not an answer for you and an author of a book to have. Right. One of the things I was thinking about too is depression is something that doctors are constantly screening for. I don't know about you, Tom, but every time I go to the doctor here, they ask me the same 5 questions before they do anything to me every single time. And it's, have you had any suicidal thoughts recently? Have you been depressed in the last 30 days? It's like these 5 questions that they ask.
They always ask me about my drinking.
Every single time. Well, that's because you come in drunk.
Okay. Wait, the doctor is scary.
Yeah.
And it's the only way I can deal with the emotion. That's my decision. Yeah. Leave me alone. Let's move on.
But in any case, I mean, I don't know. Do you deal with it? Is that something that happens?
I'm trying to remember. I will say the last time I went, they asked me if I felt safe at home for real.
So there are always questions, right? That they're sort of screening for. But for me, it's always been depression. And so, and at least at the current place,
maybe
that I'm
if
going
you smiled when you went in once in a while,
it might be that the current UIC place that I go to, that's their protocol, right? They say we're going to screen for depression because we feel like people that are depressed might be slipping through the cracks.
To be fair, I did a semester at UIC and it was fucking depressing.
Yeah, right.
So I don't like if I worked there, I'd be like, we should just get this out of the way.
Screen for depression.
That's certainly the case.
But I wanted to say a couple of things. One is be sure to don't just take, don't look at Johann Hari as somebody who is gonna like change your life with a book. Talk to your doctor if you're having problems. The doctor, like I say, my doctor always screens for it. So they're waiting for you to ask about depression problems. So go talk to somebody about it. And the other thing I wanted to say is a bunch of people sent us messages about how you shouldn't listen to him. One person even went so far as to say, Johann Hari should be on Be Reasonable, which is Be Reasonably Skeptical, which is a different show. But I listened to the entire, I was in the entire interview. I heard what he had to say. There wasn't a single moment that I felt like this guy is an absolute wackaloon. Like this guy is
like
crazy
he was a woo
person.
purveyor.
It didn't feel like that to me. And maybe I'm not smart enough when it comes to psychiatric treatment. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I don't get it.
Let's be fair. Neither of us read the book.
Right.
So I bought the book after the interview. I thought what he had to say was interesting enough that I bought the book. I started it, but I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
So, I think, like you say, we got a lot of email. We got a lot of very positive email about this as well. So I think people were galvanized in some way by the interview.
Yeah.
I'd encourage you, if you're interested, read the book, read the criticisms of it. Let us know. If you have, I am genuinely curious. Like what I find terribly unconvincing and uncompelling are articles that start with, I didn't read it, but.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't read the whole thing, but here's my counterpoint.
Yeah.
That's an uninteresting. I'm already bored. Like, it's like, I didn't read it, but here's the thing I don't like about it.
We didn't read it either, but I'm not
saying yay or nay.
I didn't have an opinion on it. Right. I just asked him questions. Right.
I think his ideas are interesting. Right. Yeah. I think there's a certain amount of generally intuitive sense that they make. I think I know enough to be careful about the things that appeal to my general intuitive sense of how the world works.
Right.
So I went and bought the book.
Yeah.
And then I'll read it and see what I think after I read it.
There was also criticism of Johann Hari being a plagiarist. That is something we didn't know about. Like I've never even heard of the guy before he contacted our show. Like I literally had never heard of him. But when he contacted our show and I watched the TED Talk he did and I started reading some of the stuff that he had put out, I thought he was an interesting person to book. So that's why I did it. But I didn't do a detailed background history on him. So if he has plagiarism in his past, I didn't know about it when we booked him.
And to be fair, the plagiarism was from 2011. It's been 7 years.
Yeah. I think even CJ Werleman can change in 7 years.
I don't think CJ Werleman can change. I don't like CJ Werleman. This story is from The Economist, and this is terrible. Republican governors try to avoid holding special elections. And this is pretty much what it sounds like. This is a story about Governor Scott Walker up in Wisconsin. There are 2 seats. He appointed 2 guys, one from his assembly and one from the Senate. He appointed them to serve in his government, which opened up 2 available seats within the legislature.
In their House legislature,
right. And rather than holding special elections to fill those, because he's seen that those might be challengeable seats, even though the balance of power in Wisconsin is clearly Republican favored, he actually is proposing a law that is so crazily written. It's like, we don't hold special elections on anything other than alternating Thursdays when the sun is setting. It's a actually, I want to read to you what the proposed law says, because it is such an obvious play to make sure we don't do it this time. The law says they want to pass a bill that would no longer allow special elections after the state's spring election in even numbered years. What the fucking what?
Yeah.
They don't want midterm elections. They don't want midterm special elections.
Yep. They want to wait. They want to push this off,
right?
So that they have plenty of time. Because one of the things that happened was one of the seats did flip. So they did have an election and it did flip, and it was a place in their government that they thought was very secure. Yeah. It was very secure for the Republican seat. And they want to hold it off. They want to just push back. They want to put, basically sweep back the tide for a little while and hope that they can put some mechanisms in place to hopefully save these seats.
Right.
Even though, like you say, it's not going to flip the government there at all. Like the government's just fine. It's still going to stay Republican. It's not an issue. But what I think and what they're suggesting they're worried about, and this is The Economist, by the way. This isn't like a fucking left-leaning lefty paper.
Oh,
this is The Economist.
The Economist may as well be written by Rachel Maddow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rachel Maddow writes every article in The Economist. You'd think she'd be tired.
Yeah, you would think
she would be exhausted.
Yeah. But it's, this is not a lefty paper. This is The Economist, and they're saying, look, this is a real problem with democracy. This is a real problem, and it's state democracy. It's not federal democracy, but this isn't just one state. It says 2 other Republican governors, Rick Snyder of Michigan and Rick Scott of Florida, are stalling on special elections.
Yep.
So other places in this country are stalling on special elections. And it was brought to my attention. I posted this on my Facebook page, and someone brought it to my attention that I don't know exactly how true this is, but it's not that I don't distrust the source. I think the source is probably telling me the truth. It's a guy by the name of Tim that both of us, you and I both know.
Yeah.
He said that during one of the elections when George Bush, and probably the first election that George Bush was coming onto the ballot, he didn't get it in time for it to be on the Illinois ballot. He was not in on time or something.
Okay.
And all Democratic government, House, Senate, and governor, all passed a law to let him come onto the ballot, specifically so that there would be a choice for the Republicans in this state to actually have that ability. That's where we've come in this under 20-year time, is from, what we really need is some really, we got to make sure that we have fair elections, to let's put it off. The people don't need to vote on this right now. He's making that decision for everybody in his entire state that they don't get to vote on. I know it's not in the state. It's only in that district, but it's still, you know what I mean? Like all those people now are disenfranchised. They don't get to decide whether or not they want to change that seat.
Well, this feels fundamentally not terribly different than not filling a Supreme Court vacancy,
It
right?
does to me too, yeah.
It's like, look, whether you like it or lump it, we have a vacancy, and those vacancies are representative, right?
Right.
So if it's Supreme Court representation, those people are all there to serve our interests as a citizenry. They're not there to serve a political party's interest. They're there to serve the citizens' interest, right? They're constituents. And if the constituency is Democratic or the constituency is Republican, be it as it may, that's why we have elections, to figure that shit out. And let's be real about that, too. They're going to gerrymander the fucking shit out of these. Although, did you see that the Supreme Court is hearing yet another gerrymandering case?
Another one.
So that actually might turn into something.
Well, there was one that came up in one state where the Democrats had gerrymandered, and they're bringing it to their attention. I'm like, fucking A, man.
I don't care
where it is. I want to make sure that gerrymandered districts are not a thing.
All this shit.
I understand that you have to draw the districts weird. Like, I understand that that's a thing. And I realize that the districts can't just be like a square.
Squares. Yeah.
I understand that because of the population, right? You've got to make sure that those populations are set up.
Right.
But it just feels like, when you see these ones that go, 60 or 70 miles straight out and it's just a strip.
Yep.
And then it comes back, and you're just like, come on, like, how does that even work?
It's like how they make O'Hara part of Chicago.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you got Chicago, and then there's like this tentacle that
miles,
reaches out. And it's like,
it's not that far, but still, it's like 20 miles. It's 20 miles away.
It's just expressfay.
And it's just expressway.
Until you get to like all this expressway in Chicago.
And so
then here's the airport.
If I lived on the expressway, I'd be a Chicago taxpayer. And if you drive to and from Chicago, you do live on the expressway.
That is very true.
You do live on the expressway.
It's true.
And
I get my mail forwarded there.
You can get your lawyer to see if you can knock your taxes down because you're a resident now. So
I pay resident rates just because of my fucking vehicular traffic.
In 2010, the Holy Spirit told me that a black ubiquitous membrane would descend over America and suffocate the people. Freedom would be taken away.
This story is from Right Wing Watch. After getting booted from YouTube, Rick Wiles warns that leftists will soon start executing Christians.
That seems likely.
Oh, God, this is going to be great.
All right, here we go.
All right. Come on, Ricky.
America's leftist snowflakes are furious that half the country no longer listens to their idiotic Marxist propaganda.
Oh, that is the worst straw man. I'm furious that half of America doesn't listen to my mixtape. I think I'm very upset by that.
Well, Cecil, you record it with the commercials, all right? I know you hit play record after the DJ is done talking.
Do you remember?
I do.
You're like waiting for your favorite song to come on. So you're always missing like the first 5 bars of your favorite song.
And the fucking DJ would talk over it a little bit like, this is going to be blah, blah,
this
blah
is a
by
long
so and the fuck.
distance dedication to
You're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're ruining the song, man.
He'll come on right at the end.
Yeah, right.
And it'll be like, that was 9 Inch Nails with...
It would be great if they sounded like that and played 9 Inch Nails, but they sound like a jazz lounge DJ. Like
that was 9 Inch
Wish
Nails
by 9 Inch Nails. Next
Down
we'll be
in
playing.
Have you heard anything from like Pretty Hate Machine? Have you put that in a long time?
I don't want to say yes, but yes. Have you? It's so bad. It's so bad. It is like,
it's not good.
It's so Pretty Hate Machine is so insanely self-indulgent.
I used to love the song Down in It when I was a kid.
I did too.
I loved it so much. I fucking blow. And Ring Finger maybe is the name of the song or something. I love that song too. I thought they were amazing. And then I listened to them recently. I was like, ugh.
It's
just really dated. Like it's just really dated. Like you hear it, and it's not that I didn't like it then, and I loved it. I'm not just saying I liked it then. I fucking loved
that
it
shit,
then. It's not my music anymore. Like I listen to it and it's clearly not my music anymore.
I find the lyrics embarrassing now.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I identified with that. I was a self-indulgent, narcissistic prick. Because that spoke to me, and that is self-indulgent, narcissistic bullshit.
Yeah, I when you listen to like everything is I, me, I, me,
that's
me.
what I mean.
That's all I, me. It's not
terrible.
There's no, and really that whole album is about like, it's your first breakup. Like it's like the whole album. When you listen to it, you're just like, oh, you got hurt. I'm real sorry. Let's go to Denny's so you could cry into your coffee. But seriously, like that's what it is. Like it's like your first heartbreak. And so I think it meant a lot to me back then, because you had your first puppy love, and you're like, oh, and now like when you're older and more cynical, you're just like, oh, you little shit.
Somebody breaks up and you just whack them on the nose with a newspaper and rub their nose in it.
God. You have no idea the pain that you're going to endure in this lifetime. You have no idea.
You're just like talking to yourself in the mirror. It's like, stupid.
You're just hitting yourself in the head. It's like
why are you so stupid? Worthless dummy.
That's from that movie where the guy like leans in to kiss like the porn star, Boogie Nights or whatever.
Yeah,
where he like leans in to kiss the porn star, and the guy's like, "What the fuck?" It's like stupid.
My ancestors were German.
We're white,
so white.
Unlike you, mud racists.
Reformed church members who fled religious persecution in Europe in the 1700s.
To persecute people religiously here.
We just wanted to get it right.
Risked everything to come to America so they could worship God freely.
And kick out the Mexicans.
There's like at all the gates to get into America, there's like a gradient color chart. You cannot come in if you are this color.
You must be this white to ride this ride.
This white or above. Sorry, guys.
There's freedom running through my veins.
It turns out freedom is terrible at transporting oxygen to the brain.
America gets that confused a lot. That's cheese sauce. Actually,
if you have freedom running through your veins, like your white blood cells are fucking bald eagles.
You gotta give blood to like caw.
It just flies out and goes right into the pint thing. Me? I'm USA negative.
Oh, USA negative.
Oh gosh. So fucking stupid. Freedom is running through my veins. You fucking pompous piece of garbage. Oh my God.
My ancestors were not silenced, and I won't be silenced by YouTube.
Yes, you will. You're going to take it and like it.
This guy is comparing the act of packing up all of your shit and getting on a boat and traveling across the fucking Atlantic Ocean to fucking be a part of a country where you don't fucking know anybody and starting with YouTube, with uploading a video on YouTube. Are you kidding me? The fucking immigrant experience is being compared as a fucking synonymous or analogous moment with being like, well, my video isn't uploaded free on this website anymore. So that's like the same thing. That's like the same thing, guys. Are you kidding me? How brave
does
you
anybody
are.
have any virtual tea I can throw into a virtual harbor? This is so stupid. Oh my God, it's so stupid. It's like, I won't be silenced, but yes, you will. Yes, you absolutely will be silenced because it's not a free platform. It's not a public.
It's not. It's just some company doesn't want you to play at their fucking business anymore. I love to, like, there's something that makes me laugh about watching old men say the word YouTube. I can't be on YouTube anymore.
Why won't you let me on the tubes?
You know his grandson has to show him how to upload the video every week. Granddad, I showed you already. Your hate speech goes to the corner.
Just drag it and drop it. No, left click, Grandpa, left click. Every week his son's like, no, see, YouTube is not a tube. It's a big truck.
Stop trying to fuck it.
Every generation has its tyrants. We have tech tyrants.
YouTube, the company that gave you the ability to have this freedom, and is now just like, well, but not you.
Yeah,
you're
an
annoying.
You're an asshole.
Well, you're a tech tyrant.
Oh. Go to that. What was that one where they're like they were super. There was one clip that we listened to where someone was saying this other platform is beating out YouTube, and it's like the conservative YouTube or whatever. I'm like, just go there.
Because nobody knows what it is because it's not beating out anything. It's not even beating off.
I literally can't even remember it. Like I'm pressing my head to be like, squeeze it out.
Like a pimple.
It's like a pimple. I can't get it out.
I have warned for years that a spirit of Nazism is rising up inside the USA.
Well, it's inside YouTube, actually. It's rising up inside YouTube. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's also on Twitter and on Facebook.
That's where the Nazis are.
They've encircled a fucking statue somewhere in Charlottesville. There's a spirit. The spirit of Nazism rose up here in Illinois, and some asshole's gonna run for fucking Congress.
The new Nazis are here. America is on the verge of a French Revolution-style upheaval.
I thought it was German Nazis.
Jesus.
Who's invading who?
It feels like a sort of international buffet we have going on here.
I'm ordering the pancakes.
I would like a helping of German Nazism. Ooh, and can I have a side of that French Revolution? It looks so decadent. So decadent.
I shouldn't, but
why? Yes, I'll eat cake.
I really shouldn't, but I'll just take the Polish sausage.
During which leftist mobs will seek to execute Christians and conservatives.
Now that seems like a stretch.
Hey, guys, we got to kill 75% of the population.
And we have to kill them because they somehow got kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah. How will we find them? Well, they'll be the ones who aren't on YouTube. That's how we'll find them.
They'll be the ones with the protest signs to YouTube.
Ready to stick it in the glory hole? Get links to their Facebook, Twitter, and if you still use it, Google Plus account at their website, dissonancepod.com. If you need to be all discreet about it, contact them by email at dissonance.podcast@gmail.com. Or you can call and leave a ransom message at 740-74-DOUBT. That's 740-743-6828. Want to hear Cognitive Dissonance commercial free and gain access to exclusive content, including full patron-only shows? Head to patreon.com/dissonancepod and become a patron to support the show on a per-episode basis. Love commercials? Not ready to become a patron? Give the guys a 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher. Or tell your buddies in the drunk tank about the show. We want to send a big sloppy glory hole to all the patrons and people who rate us. You fucking rock.
This story comes from Pink News. This is Coach. Not a coach. Dave Daubenmeier, internet pastor, don't masturbate because it's gay sex.
Well, I do have a guy's hand on my dick. So
I think that's his actual point.
All right, here's the coach.
Very honest about it. Masturbation is homosexuality. You're having sex with a man.
See, that's what I'm saying. You know, the hard part is bending it while it's still hard to get it in my own ass. That's
yeah. I mean, you just eventually just stop looking at porn and just start looking at a mirror. You know, you're just like,
well, you can.
Who's that hot guy?
Who doesn't do that?
Who is that hot guy? And then I start pecking at it because I don't know who it is.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I start trying to bark at it. I'm like, who is that over there?
You get it? Now you're putting images of a woman in your mind,
but it's a guy's hand on your dick.
But you're having sex with a man.
That's his actual point. That's his actual point.
It's interesting that he's saying that, because if that's the case, if he's saying like, and I don't know if I can get there, but they say that if you think of a woman lustfully, you're sinning.
Right.
Right. But like in his mind, the thoughts are not, the thoughts
don't change the facts, right?
The thoughts don't change.
Yeah, they're not enough.
They're not enough to change whether or not, you know, you're touching yourself, and that's gay.
Yeah,
it's not gay.
I feel like there has to be another man,
right? For it to be a gay experience.
It's that shit. You're flying that ship solo.
If a gay guy jerks off, is that gay sex though?
Oh, dude, it's double gay sex. It's actually it's a threesome. I don't know. Is that
does he wink out of existence?
As soon as he comes, like, it just implodes into the nothing. Just, where did it go?
It's a popping sound.
This is the least persuasive argument not to jerk off I've ever heard. Like you're gonna scare me away from it. Like you're just like,
oh no,
man.
This is like the reefer madness of jerking off.
You're like, I would jerk off, but then it's gay. Well, fuck it, then I'm gay. Who cares? Like fucking, I'd fucking get that shit carved onto my chest if it meant I could. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I was gonna masturbate, but then some fucking internet coach pastor said that I'm gay.
Yeah, said I'm gay. Yeah, the only way that you would believe that is if you're like super homophobic, right, which means you're probably already gay. You just don't want to admit it.
Like it's like, who's like looking down at their dick like, hey, I would suck that dick.
That's a big dick.
Look at that dick.
I never said that. That's not an internal monologue. That's not an internal monologue at all.
Instead, it's like,
it's like, are you going to be able to find it in there? Press back that little man fupa.
Man fupa.
Man fupa.
That's where the devil will take us if we give him free rein in our minds.
Look, if the devil's going to loan me his hand for a while, that's cool too.
He just wants to get taken by the devil. You know, he's just like, come on, devil, just take me so hard.
It's got to be barbed. That's the problem. The devil's like one of those
like a
cats.
duck. It's like
it just like sticks it in there. And now you got to throw water on him to get it off of you. You're like spritzing the devil with like a spray bottle. Get off of me, devil.
What? That wouldn't surprise me because fucking Coach Dave is yowling like a fucking cat in heat over this. Just like rubbing himself all over. Come on. Who wants to talk about masturbating with me?
That's why I said in the commentary that I wrote yesterday, I don't know if I have time to read it, and I don't know if I should read it.
You have all the time you want.
It's your show.
It's the internet.
It's also your show.
What are you talking? I don't have time. I got other things for busy. Nobody to listen to.
I got to go beat off.
Sex is a behavior, guys. It's a behavior. An orgasm. Oh, do I have to say that, Lord?
Why is he weirded out by orgasm?
Orgasm is super weird for some because he's never given his wife one.
I'm so tired of hearing that goddamn word, woman. Yeah, I know you want an orgasm, and I want a summer house, all right? But we're not all getting the things we wish for.
Buy me a Mercedes SLK, then we'll talk.
Okay.
He's so red. He's so uncomfortable. He said orgasm, and he's like...
This just sounds awful. I just got to say it.
Just say it. Cum sock. Say it.
What word is giving him is making him this verklempt?
Times one of the greatest feelings that you could ever have
is an orgasm.
Is a bowel movement.
He's not wrong.
He's going to talk about putting stuff up his butt. He's Tom. I think he's going to go there.
Oh my God. on. Here we go.
You guys ever had one of those moments where you thought you could never get home? It's like, man, I'm holding it. I got to get home. You run in the house and the relief that comes. Well, is that feeling any different than the relief that you get when you have an orgasm?
Yeah. Yeah. Pooping doesn't feel like coming. Pooping feels different than coming.
Poor guy. This poor man.
Maybe he's just super into butt stuff, and he's just getting the signals are all crossed at this point. His brain's just like, I don't know if I'm shitting or coming. I can't even.
He's like sitting down to his block of cheese every evening. He's walking down the street with a whole package of Baby Bells, and he's just chugging, walking down the street, pouring cheese when it is in his mouth. Different. He's constantly backed up, so he can spend as much time on the toilet as possible.
What he does, that's basically like poop edging. Like he backs himself up
poop edging
for like 5 days.
It's the grossest thing we've ever said. It's the grossest. This is it, guys. This is it. This is where it went.
It's like five.
No, this is the culmination of the show. Poop edging, guys. This is where it's at. This is it. No, keep going, Tom.
5 days of cheese, then a kale smoothie. That's it. Here it comes.
It's like packing a musket, and then he's just like, all right, here we go. I'm lighting the fuse. You come in the bathroom and you're just like, I'm gonna need a squeegee. Like the walls. It's on the walls. How's that even possible? Did you stand up? What happened?
Both of them are temporary releases and feelings of pleasure. One is associated with sex and one isn't.
One is sex. One is pooing. What, are you kidding me right now? Are you fucking high? You crazy person. One is associated. Yeah, the one where there's sex is associated with sex.
The sex part.
The one where you're taking a shit
is the other one. That's the other column.
Oh my God. I love this so much.
They are bodily functions. Oh, man. Don't laugh at me. You know I'm telling you the truth.
That's
perfect ending. Perfect. You know what, Cecil? Can we pause for just a second? And I'm going to go take a.
You're going to go take
cum.
a cum.
Mrs. Krabappel and Principal Skinner were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies, and the baby looked at me.
Baby looked at you? Sarah, get me Superintendent Chalmers. Thank you, Sarah.
This is fucking amazing. This is from the Joe.My.God blog. Right-wing pastor. I squished an ant, and then I raised it from the dead, and then it looked at me.
All right. So this is the clip. It's Frank Almeida, and he's on some program.
And this is the guy who claims he got rid of that tsunami.
Yeah, he's the one who prayed away the tsunami.
But he really prayed away. He just redirected it to hit a different island or whatever.
It to a different place.
Hey, kill some strangers. I know some folks over here.
All right. So this is him.
To go do the baptism. Sure. We were waiting to go join the crowd and do the baptisms. And he said, well, pick me up in about 45 minutes. So I ran out on my balcony. I had my gym shorts on. It was a little chilly, but in the sun at the Dan Hotel, I'm out there like this. I put my head back and I'm meditating and saying, Lord, you're going to do something awesome for these people getting baptized. I want it to be the most awesome experience of their life. When they come up out of that water, I want the dove of the Holy Spirit to rest upon them. And that's how I'm praying. Very, very religious. You know, blah, blah, blah.
I'm praying very religiously.
You know when you try to be really religious and you're just like, it's like that. Like that's what I was doing.
He was mocking his own shit. I was all like, blah, 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 God.
He's like got his head back and he's like, hermina. Fucking amazeballs. Holy shit.
Blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden I feel this sting on my leg. And you know, when you're stung and there's an insect, you do something involuntary. You don't think about it. So I went like this.
Wait, you hit yourself? That's not involuntary. Like I want to kill whatever stung me. Like right. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I like these. Like, oh, it's just I wasn't thinking about it. I have never regretted killing anything that bites me or stings me or. Like, fuck you.
I've killed people's toddlers when they bite me. Are you kidding me?
And I looked to see what it was, and I saw this ant fall down onto a towel that I had put on the balcony so that my feet wouldn't get bit from ants on the balcony.
Well, great job. The ant was like, fuck, I can't get across that.
See,
it's not a picnic blanket. I can't make my way over
I'll
it.
sell you this towel. It keeps ants away. Put it next to the stone that keeps tigers away.
Where is he that it's just covered in biting ants?
You're just like, yeah, I'll just put this cloth on the ground. There's no way an ant can traverse it. It'd be impossible for the ant to get across this. I put it down because ants, there's no way they can actually grip cloth. It's just, they sit on it like ice. They can't move. They're just spinning their little arms around. They fall over on their back.
Just like they're just like turtles. Like, fuck.
I am perplexed by your cloth.
Balcony. Well, this was a smart ant. It was a Jewish ant. He crawled up.
A smart ant.
I named him Yakov. Yakov crawled up my leg, and I whacked him, and he was laying there, and he was squirming a little bit. So half out of compassion, half out of vengeance, I took this big thumb, and I went like this.
As opposed to your little thumb. This here's my little thumb. This here's my big thumb.
I use the big one for ant squishings. I use the little one to stick up a choir boy's ass. He gives some weird extraneous details when he tells the story.
Also, he's like, he goes out of his way to name the ant before he kills it. That's a little weird, dude. Like, you got there's a little.
I gave it a social security number and a birthday.
I called him Yakov, and I figured his favorite color was purple.
And I heard him squish. I felt it crack under my thumb, and a piece of it, it was two pieces. I went like this and flicked it, and it went down on the towel. So, case settled, assignment over, back like this. Pray.
Him and hell about it.
You know how you idiots pray. Come on.
And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit speaks to me so clearly. It was as clear as I've ever heard. And it wasn't the voice of the Holy Spirit, another theological lesson for another time. It was the voice of the Father. The Father calls me son. And the Father said, son, look at the ant. I looked down at the ant, and as I did, I saw another ant come up over the side of the towel, and it began charging directly at this ant. I mean,
it's like, come at me, bro.
What? The ant runs after, it's like, fuck you. I told you after you slept with my wife, you'd get yours, you motherfucker.
He ran across. Yakov! No! No! Why?
It just runs up to the guy. Francis is mine.
And it was an ant on assignment. He was moving fast.
They're all on assignment. They're ants. Like, that's their thing. That's like their actual thing.
It's on assignment. It's unfolding its tiny little orders.
Is this the first time he's ever seen an ant? No, he seems fascinated by these things.
The Queen wants me to do.
You capture him,
from the Queen.
He swallows his tiny orders. You'll never find him, you son of a bitch.
Before he squished this one, it took a cyanide pill.
He went to this one and he began to pull on it and tug on it. And it wasn't moving. And then the Lord...
Because I cut it in half with my enormous thumbs.
You crushed the life out of it. That's how that works.
Said to me, son, I hear the cry of an ant.
Oh my God! But you don't hear the...
Yeah.
Think of all the other cries that your crazy God you believe in did not hear.
Think about all the cries exactly. Like at every moment
there are like thousands of kids fucking mining cobalt right now. There are like fucking human beings being sex trafficked all across the globe. People are starving. There's kids with that fucking eye parasite. And then it's just like, well, but I've got it. There's all these ants.
It's like an ant.
What about Yakov, guys? How do you want me to prioritize this?
I said, oh my God. Do you understand what happened in that moment? It was that I've always known God to be almighty. We worship him as sovereign. He's the creator. And we've preached. I hear what a sparrow falls. I know the number of hairs on your head. I know the thoughts of your heart before you say them.
I know that when your stomach is empty, most of the time I don't care.
I know when you're sleeping, and I know when you're awake.
Right? And I know when you have childhood cancer. And
I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
I created you in the womb, but when the Lord Almighty, God the Father, speaks to you in Israel and says, I heard the cry of that ant, I began to weep inside of me. I don't know if I was weeping for the ant, weeping for myself. I just began to weep. I broke. Mm-hmm. And then the Lord said, son, take your finger and touch the ant. I went like this, Judge, and I got about this far from the ant. The power of God shot out. The ant that was running around.
That lady just sighed. That lady just
She
sighed.
was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Like,
the ant that was running around the other ant, he just flew. The power hit him, and he went like this. I don't know where.
And he died. He got fucking killed.
He got killed.
It's
a lightning bolt.
Hey, you want to save an ant? You got to kill a few ants.
Kill another ant. Kill his best friend.
He went, but he was gone. He was airborne.
Yeah, fuck him. He didn't even have a name, that motherfucker.
I didn't bother to
Whatever.
This is flying ants. There's somebody on the ground. It's like, what is happening up there? Is somebody popping ants like popcorn? What is going on up there? Oh, God.
I got to get a better hotel. It's not covered in ants, too, by the way.
And the other ant, it came alive. And the
which half?
Which half? Right?
Yeah, which crushed half came alive?
Oh my God!
Pieces all were together.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like magnets,
like Freddy in that one movie.
And it jumped up on my finger.
They don't jump. Who's ever seen an ant jumping in all the history? That's how it got on the towel.
Those are those famous jumping ants.
Well, it's Mexican. It's a Mexican jumping ant.
It's just sitting there and he touches it. It's like the Terminator and Terminator 2. And it's like all like clumping back together.
Oh my God.
It's all mercurized.
Came up very slowly, my palm.
And then it high-fived me.
I hope it stung him again.
Oh, please say it stung him.
Stopped right there as if it was looking right at me.
And then I squished it.
Oh my God, this story is fucking amazing.
God. You know what's amazing about that story, Tom, is that there's two adults rapt attention listening to it. And that's not us.
No.
There's two adults in that room listening to that story. And they're just like, yeah, no, yeah.
God pieced an ant back together.
Yeah, God reforms ants when you break them.
Yeah, that kid in Cambodia that stepped on a landmine is fucked, but you know. Let's put that stinging ant back together.
Did that ant like have Amazon purchase protection on it?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
So stories from Right Wing Watch. It's Alex Jones again. Globalists use cell phones to commit silent, invisible Holocaust.
Invisible Holocaust. If it's an invisible Holocaust, do you know it's there?
You need to realize if you want to talk about something that's killing millions of people, not 40-something.
I thought I paused it.
You didn't pause it?
I didn't pause it.
Well,
No.
let's start over.
Holy
start
cow.
over.
No, I was like,
I thought you paused it too. I looked over at you like, what the fuck?
Did I accidentally pause it? No, I didn't pause it. That's just him like taking 7 seconds to say something.
You need to realize if you want to talk about something that's killing millions of people, not 40-something.
He seriously like he needed to get the next line from the mothership. What the fuck happened?
His whole body stopped
like
moving.
He froze.
He just was like,
he's like, oh
God. How about you talk about radiation? How about we have walkouts in schools over cell towers on top of schools? How about we have walkouts over cell phone radiation? How about we have walkouts over all of that?
I love that the evidence that they show is a printout of something from the internet. They literally just printed a web page and then wrote on it with a pen.
Yeah, I know. There's not even any source on it. And what it says on the screen here, it says they say they found clear evidence that phone radiation caused the tumors in the hearts of rats, which were similar to tumors in people, is what's highlighted there.
And like I love too, because like up top there's an option to send this article to your Kindle. This is the evidence. But this, even if you stop and read this, says even the top cellular radiation researchers from around the world have a hard time untethering. But as they gathered recently in North Carolina to talk about cell phone concerns and whether they really do increase the chances of developing cancer. Notice that it's just a bunch of undefined pronouns.
Yeah.
They never tell you who these people are or like, oh, they're just top cell phone radiation researchers. Oh, really?
It's a huge industry, Tom.
From the cell phone.
It's hard to break into.
Yeah.
It's hard to break into. You got to wait for somebody to keel over for you to take their job.
Right. Or use the thumbprint scanner, or the facial recognition.
And this is, again, there was so much pushback against those kids walking out of school. So
really
much trying to discredit those kids walking out of school. Discrediting them from they don't know what they're talking about because they're kids to they're being manipulated to this, right? Like, why can't they walk out of school for some other reason?
Yeah, to just being like, getting shot isn't really worth getting worked up about.
It's not that big a deal.
What about cell phones?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. And all of it is, every single bit of that is a deflection from the actual issue, right?
Yep.
They're too young to talk about it. Well, they're not too young to talk about it because they're not too young to get shot.
Yeah. Well, it's like, they're too young to talk about it. Okay, well, what about the points they raised? Let's talk about those instead of talking about the people that raised them.
Exactly, right? Like, because it's an ad hominem, right? That's an ad hominem to say, you can't talk about this because you're too young.
Yeah, there's something about you
that makes your argument not worthwhile.
Right.
And that's not true. There's plenty of points that they make, and I may or may not agree with some of those points, right?
But
I may disagree.
If we ignore them, we certainly don't have an opportunity to even get there, right?
Exactly. And then the other one, which is they're being manipulated. And I'm like, well, if their points didn't matter, then would it matter if they're being manipulated, right? Because, on the one hand, if their points don't matter, then being manipulated or it's of their own volition, it doesn't matter because their points don't matter.
Even if they are being manipulated, is what they say true?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Who cares if it's like where is it still true?
Because again, that's another ad hominem.
Right.
It's another way to say that the person who's bringing you this message is flawed, therefore the message is flawed.
The message is flawed.
Yeah.
What's the fucking message?
Yeah. And then the final bit here is let's just change the subject. Now you're going to red herring.
Right.
Now you're like, well, nobody cares about that. Let's talk about this other thing.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, well, that only killed 40. This kills millions.
Yeah.
Right. So
now it's
don't care
apples
about
and
this.
oranges
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Don't care about this. Yeah. It's that continuum.
Yeah.
Right.
Because this is what kills thousands of times what guns do every year. And this is how the globalists in this silent, invisible Holocaust are killing everybody in their plan.
Have a little fucking table discipline. Jesus. You're like fucking
walloping that
cognitive dissonance up there.
And the globalists have these Wi-Fi free retreats out in the middle of the wilderness that they're living in. A lot of the top billionaires are moving to the middle of nowhere, as I've told you, and as is now admitted. Northern Canada.
I want to hear him say Canada again.
It sounded like Sly Stallone a little there, didn't he?
This is a guy who seems to record his show a lot with gastrointestinal issues, right? We've seen him belch his way through things.
My impression is that those issues never go away. Like he's just constantly surrounded.
Go Canada. Because that's what happened there. He burped it out.
Burped in the middle of Canada. Here we go.
Northern Canada. Kauai, Hawaii. Tasmania. New Zealand. And
so the globalists are controlling the world, but they're not connected to it.
They don't want,
right?
They don't want.
So they have to do everything physically. They're just oh, I gotta go control the world. I have to get up and go out of my fucking log cabin.
No, they don't. What they do is they go and they connect with their 2800 baud modem.
Well, they don't do a Wi-Fi, but they just have
a hardline.
The world's largest Cat 5 streaming from their private jet.
Yeah.
Read about these Wi-Fi free elite resorts and Wi-Fi communities that are Wi-Fi free. And they're all hardwired. If you go to Zuckerberg's house and you look at even some of the photos, they try to control, but I've seen it. It's plugged in.
Stop saying
Jesus Christ, we get what plugged in means. Why is hardwire plugged in? Hardwire plugged in.
Plugged in. Because then the radiation is chained down through that electron chain.
What the fuck does that mean?
The radiation's like, fuck, I can't get out of this electron chain.
The radiation.
That's how science is.
I dare you to take this electron chain off. I fucking dare you. I'll come at you, bro. Take it off.
There's all these radiations all chained together singing work songs.
This one radiation's like, I could break these cuffs.
They're like on the side of the internet superhighway picking up trash.
The radiation's in an orange jumpsuit with a pokey stick.
It is not just blasting out like a radiation bomb.
That's called a bomb.
No, we just called it a bomb. That's so perfect.
I love that guy so much. Oh, he's crazy.
God,
He's a shithouse
so
rat.
crazy. He's so crazy. Oh my God.
Environmentalism has become a religion, or has become their reason for being. You know, the old joke that a lot of environmentalists are like watermelons. They're green on the outside and pink on the inside.
This story's from Right Wing Watch. EPA's Pruitt hears from Bible study leader that radical environmentalism is a false religion. Now, this is a readie, not a talkie.
Right.
So this is the actual argument. This is from Drollinger. Ralph Drollinger leads a weekly Bible study meeting for members of Congress, for Trump's cabinet, and for Scott Pruitt, who's the EPA agency.
Let's just stop and think about how weird that is.
I don't want to stop and think about it because they don't have to know it.
Like some dude is doing a weekly Bible study meeting for people in Trump's cabinet.
Yeah, that's fucking bizarre, dude. Of all the things they've got to do in a week, they're taking their time out to have their fucking fairy tale story time. Hey, we don't have like clean water. Well, I wonder what they would have said about this 2,000 years ago in a book written by a people that lives halfway across the world and doesn't know how to spell wheel yet.
I wonder what they would have thought of it in the time of cholera.
So here is this is his fucking argument, Drollinger. And this is problematic, right? Because the EPA agency head listens to this guy. To think that man can alter the Earth's ecosystem when God remains omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent in the current affairs of mankind is to more than subtly espouse an ultra-hubristic secular worldview relative to the supremacy and importance of man.
I think it's the opposite.
How do you mean?
Well, like he's basically saying like to think that a man can alter Earth's ecosystem when God's in control is hubristic. But I think about it the other way, to think like how hubristic of you to think that there's some imaginary thing that's somehow protecting everything.
Sure,
you know
right.
I mean? Like
that loves you.
That loves you.
And wants to set this whole universe in motion for your pleasure.
And then and sets everything in the entire sky along with every ecosystem on Earth. I mean, just the very fact that we've changed these ecosystems so dramatically in the last, 100 years.
We know that humankind can dramatically affect it, like the most extreme example, right? We could set off a bunch of nuclear weapons.
Right.
It would affect the fuck out of the ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
We could drop all of them at the same time on the Amazon rainforest.
Yep.
There would be no more of that.
Yeah.
That ecosystem is donezo. So, okay, we know we can do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stops us. We also know that we're currently doing it all over the place. The EPA head listens to this guy.
That's unreal to me.
That's unreal.
That's unreal. What's crazy is like the EPA head is not, I mean, this is a guy who for years has been fighting against all the things that the EPA has been trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
For years and years and years, this Pruitt has been, the arch nemesis of the EPA.
Yeah. Well, here's another example, right? So this is something Drollinger shared with Pruitt and his colleagues in the cabinet. To allow fish to govern the construction of dams, endangered species to govern power plants, flies to govern hospitals, or kangaroo rats' homes,
what?
Is to miss the clear proclamation of God in Genesis.
So they're saying like, if there's some sort of species that you want to save, you can't build your dam, or you might change how your dam is built.
Right.
That's not.
Clearly, they're not. I don't think that they're suggesting that the fish run the dam. Although that would be kind of awesome. They're just like
the levers are weird. The levers are weird. Yeah.
There's just like this sturgeon like standing at this fucking control panel, like with a mustache and a cup of coffee, just like a hard hat.
Little orange vest on that keeps falling up because he has shoulders.
Just like sighs, like Monday. Like I don't know why his voice sounds
kind
like
of around
either.
his waist at this point because the orange vest just slides right off of him. There's no shoulders, so it just goes right down.
So, in talking about the politics of siding against radical environmentalists, in part because they have children. They have fewer children than those who believe in, fucking until the Bible says
Nonsense.
stop, right?
Yeah. Which is just not true because more and more people are coming out as atheists. So it's just, and pretty soon our country is going to be, I would say in the next 30 years, 30 or 40 years, our country might be starting to climb to a majority of
people. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. That are either non-believers or
that would be fucking awesome.
Agnostic. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I'd say in the next 30 years because the rate at which it's climbing is pretty dramatic. It's pretty dramatic.
Geometric. So his claim is there's 6 million more kids that believe, right? So they've outperformed in the fucking quiver full shit. Right? That's what he's saying. And I will say that like secular families probably do produce less kids.
Yeah, right.
Than the, fuck until God buys you a condom group.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So he says, those 6 million children are just now reaching voting status. Said another way, young Americans raised with a Christian worldview will soon outnumber the children of radical environmentalists by at least 6 million voters in the coming elections. Indeed, the scriptural truth that your sins will find you out will soon be realized across the country. Hopefully, the religion of radical environmentalism will soon be relegated to fringe minority status in American society.
What I don't understand is the most religious in our society use religion as an insult. The religion,
yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean, like wouldn't you?
You hold on to it like a religion. Yeah, you do that with your
religion.
You go to those environmental meetings religiously. Yeah, like you are like your church service.
Yeah, exactly.
There, huh?
It's just such a weird thing to pick on, like to say that.
Same thing when they call them sheep.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, but your guy's a shepherd, right?
And you guys are cool with that. Like
right.
you
like that.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing for you.
This is a disturbing trend because, one of the things that I think most secular people want is to keep religion out of the government so that it doesn't, so that people with religious views like this, which I think are very dangerous religious views.
Yeah. Only if you like living on the earth,
right?
This is only dangerous if you like living on the earth.
It's a really horrible worldview to be like, there's nothing we can do to damage the environment. God will always fix it.
It almost seems like a challenge.
It really does.
Right? Oh, I bet I can. Fuck you. I'm going to buy a paper mill and then I'm going to put it next to a coal mine and then I'm going to bomb them both. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a 24-hour shift and then I'm going to fill them full of fucking motor oil and bomb them.
It's like we're getting just powerful enough to wrestle with God so he'll never wrestle with us again. Because there's an age where you wrestle with your son and then you're done. Yep. You don't do it anymore.
Do you remember the last time you wrestled your dad?
Yeah, he fell out of his coffin and I was trying to put him back in. It's like,
how did he fall out of his coffin?
It's like, well,
like just
there was a fight at his funeral. So.
Get in there. He wasn't dead yet.
He's like a jellyfish.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're trying to push him with the shovel. Right. It's like that one Family Guy when he's trying to pick the frog up and slide it, and there's like a million times of him trying to get it out of the window. I don't know. Anyway, but you remember that clearly the last time.
I do. It makes me laugh. I was 13.
13,
and I wrestled my dad, and I beat him, and I put him in like a crucifix,
Okay, yeah,
and he couldn't breathe. And he got all panicky and shitty because he likes to breathe or whatever. And like I let him go because I want to hurt my dad. We were just roughhousing, but I clearly won. And he got up and he was all shaking and everything. And we never roughhoused one time again. After he was like, "Fuck that noise!" Like
There's an age.
We are done.
There's an age. There's a point, though. We're at the point now where we're just like, you know what? We could kill the world.
Yeah.
We don't need your help, God. We don't need to tell stories about it anymore. We don't need to write down Armageddons or write down a bunch of fucking, like a big fucking goat with more horns than it has heads or less horns than it has heads or whatever, and armored locusts. We can just kill the world right now on our own.
It's a choose your own adventure style. We can do it so many different ways. It's like, it's not
bioweapon.
Like, well, how do you want to end this whole thing? I don't know.
Super disease?
Right. Yeah, well, let's see.
Bacterial infections are suddenly resistant to all antibiotics. We can keep going.
Like with so many options.
Yeah.
It's like
Wi-Fi. So we want to thank all our patrons. Of course, we want to thank our newest patrons, Loose Butthole.
Ooh.
Probably uses products from adamandeve.com. You use Gloria at checkout. You can get yourself a bunch of different butt plugs. You know what I mean?
You can get as loose as you want that asshole.
Yeah. The thing is no matter how loose your butthole is, there's something that's going to fit in there tight from adamandeve.com. Gloria at checkout. You get 50% off almost any item, free sex swing, and free shipping. Ted Cruz ate my son.
Ooh.
Caliente. Chad, Dwayne, shout out for Jeff. Filling the swear jar to pay for Patreon.
Nice.
Kathy, Christina, Michael, Richard, and Joni. Thanks so much for your generous donations. We really do appreciate it. This last week, I was able to go visit Oklahoma City.
You said it was pretty nice,
it wasn't
actually.
bad. It was a really nice, to be perfectly honest, now I visited a couple of different places there, and there are some places that are just like not great. Like as you're driving, you're like, this isn't very great. But the downtown area, the Bricktown area, I gotta say, I thought it was nice. Like I ate good food while I was out there. I got a chance to hang out with the Puzzle and the Thunderstorm guys. I hung out with Seth Andrews one evening. There was a bunch of cool atheists there that were all for the atheist convention. I got a chance to meet a ton of people that listen to the show, take pictures with people. So if I met you, thanks for coming over and saying hi. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I bought you a drink. If I remember buying drinks. I remember buying drinks for sure.
Nice.
So I'm pretty sure I bought several drinks for different people. But thanks for coming by and saying hi. And that was a lot of fun to do. We got an image from James, and James sends this Easter image. It's a little late, but we're going to post it anyway.
Oh God.
It is something else. So it's a nice Jesus image we'll be posting on this week's show notes. This is episode 408. We got another image from
it's so
Elvis,
funny.
And it doesn't have, he says, apropos of nothing. And that is also part of our other show, Citation Needed. But yeah, it's just a random image, that a superhero image that he sent us that we think is hilarious. So check it out. It's on this week's show notes, episode 408. Third image that we're going to post is from Aaron, and it's a Trump image.
The more I look at this, the more I don't know, like it is not the right word. It makes me laugh, but it's creepy.
Very
and
weird. I don't know.
Somebody spent a lot of time on that.
I really did. So check it out, this week's show notes. Tom, we got a message, and this was sent to us. Yeah. We think it's a very important message. We're going to read it to our audience.
It says, April 3rd, 2018. Let's discuss about it. Dear business owner of DissonancePod.com, did you think that your website is having so many errors?
I like that sentence.
Is it possible that one's website contains numbers of errors? Yes. Numbers of the people share their rage and frustration once they get my mail. Now, I will show you the several types of broken links, pages with no meta description tag, images with no alt text, HTML validation errors, not including unique meta description, having too long title, etc., found in your dissonancepod.com. We have an expert team who can easily solve all the above problems within a second with a reasonable budget.
Those are all together, by the way. Problems within and a second with are both. They're both together. A second with is a great.
A second with.
A second with is a great word.
We guarantee you will see a dire change in your Google search ranking once these are static. in case you're getting interested with the proposal and want to get high, rank in Google, then must feel free to send me a proposal.
Oh, gosh. That's amazing.
I want to call that
That
guy
is so
bad.
fucking Google translated. It's amazing. We're going to post a video in this week's show notes. I don't know where they got the beginning of this video because it's kind of our tagline. It's kind of our thing, but this is not a real Twitter account, so I don't know why. I mean, unless they changed Twitter.
It's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just a really hell of a coincidence. So check this video out. It's a review of a glory hole. But when it starts out, I was just like, wait a minute. Is that somebody who listens to our show?
Yeah.
So check this out. I'm going to put it on this week's show notes. Luke sent it in. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We're supposed to have a guest tonight, but we might have that guest next week. We're hoping that we're going to have that guest next week. There was a problem on our end this time.
It snowed in April.
So fuck. So we're hoping that we're going to have the guest next time, and that should be a good show. But we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain dead pan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.